Hello everyone, I'm Allison with Green Goddess Plants and Seeds, and welcome to another garden chat. So, as you can see, we still have so much snow. Oh, it just does not want to go. It just doesn't want to warm up enough for it to actually really start to, it's melting slowly. You know, our daytime highs here are only maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 degrees above freezing. Yeah, it's melting, but it's so slow. And then of course overnight lately, the lows have been dropping well below freezing, like 7, 8, 9 degrees below freezing. So it's still getting pretty cold at night. So it's a slow start to the spring, slow start to everything, but it's getting late and we got stuff that needs to be done, and it's getting hard to do it because it's just, there's just so much snow still. All right, so this is our greenhouse, our little greenhouse. So on top here, we have all our peppers that have been transplanted and they're looking good. And down here, we have more. So some of this stuff is definitely ready for transplant. Not everything. The basil back here, and then I've got some snapdragons. They're all ready for transplanting, but I'm kind of holding off doing that, basically because of space. Like I said, because it's getting so cold at night still. The heater that we have out here just isn't, it's just not enough. So we're having to haul stuff in at night to keep it from freezing, and we've only got so much space in the house right now. And so if I start any transplanting or starting more seeds, we're not gonna have room for everything. And it is getting down to crunch time because next week I do need to be starting our pumpkins and squash and cucumbers. And, you know, like I said, the basil is definitely ready for transplanting. And these are the tomatoes. And they're almost ready. Probably another week, probably next week. These guys are going to be definitely ready for transplanting. So, you know, I have to do that. I can't just leave them. I can't leave them and not do that. So we're going to have to come up with some creative solutions for heating this space going forward, because we're definitely going to need it. So there's some of our peppers, our habaneros and habaneros. And Simba, get off of there. There's Simba. She's one of our cats. So one of the things I want to going to be doing today is I'm going to be transplanting or repotting this pepper, this beauty. This is a Jigsaw. Hope you can see that. And then this one over here, this is a Sugar Rush Peach that I've managed to winter over. So I'm going to be doing that right away if you want to join me. So welcome to a repotting session. So I've got 2 peppers that I need to repot today. One is this Sugar Rush Peach, which has gotten very tall and lanky, and it's definitely, the roots are coming out of the bottom. So, and it's actually even got a couple of peppers on it. You see that? Oops. There we go. So this is one that I wintered over in the house, and it actually managed to survive. I'm not a very good person when it comes to houseplants and wintering stuff over, because stuff just tends to die. You know, with peppers, usually they get full of bugs or aphids and then they just don't make it. So, but this one, this Sugar Rush Peach, and then I also have a Jigsaw pepper that I also wintered over that needs to be repotted. So I'm going to do that today. So one of the things I am going to do with this is I am going to cut it down. I'm going to sacrifice the peppers that are on it in favor of some better growth, some healthier growth for the summer months. So it is kind of tall and lanky. So one of the first things I'm going to do to make it more easier to manage is I'm going to cut this down. I know it seems heartless, but there's lots of new growth coming up down here. So I'm going to take it right down to where this new growth is coming out of. And I'm just going to go snip like that. And then we'll detach it from its post here. And then we'll give it a nice big new pot. There we go, there's my cutting. And actually, if I wanted to, I could probably take cuttings off of this and root them, which I actually might do. Just set that down there. Now I'm going to put a bit of soil into my pot here. Just like that. There we go. That should be good. Set that there. And then there's the steak. So yeah, I was quite happy that it wintered over. I was even more thrilled when I saw it starting to flower in the house. I was not expecting that. So there, the roots aren't too bad. They were starting to escape the pot. So I'm just gonna loosen them up a little bit. And then I'm just gonna stick it in there. Now I probably could use a little more soil in the bottom of that. It's not quite at the level I want. Like I want to repot it at the level that it was. So I'm just gonna add another couple of handfuls of soil. Like that. Yes. There we go, that's better. And now we'll just fill all that in with some soil around it so that it can grow for the summer in that pot. There we go. So I do have some other indoor plants that will be having to be dealt with. I do have a whole bunch of geraniums that I brought in. They're a nice hot pink geranium, and I've had them, probably for 2 or 3 years now. I've actually managed to winter them over. And if I was thinking a little more in advance, I would have taken some cuttings off of them and got them rooted. But anyway, all right, so there's my Sugar Rush Peach, all done. And then all we have to do now is give it a good drink. And it's ready to go. It'll be all happy in its new pot. And then hopefully it'll continue to send up some new shoots and some new flowers. Now the peppers that I did cut off of there, they're not ripe, but you know, we can still eat them. We can still use them. There's no reason why we can't, just because they're not ripe. There we go. So that's pepper number 1 done. We'll just shift it over here. And then this here is my Jigsaw pepper. Now it's actually 2 peppers. There's actually 2 peppers in here. And so I want to take them both out, separate them, and put each one into its own pot. And I'm probably going to be taking some cuttings off of this too, cut them down a little bit to encourage some new growth. So we'll be doing that too. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Sorry, kind of showing you the wrong end of the pot there. I'm just going to pull it out gently. Gently, there we go. It's coming out. There we go. Awesome sauce. Look at that. So I am going to pull off some of these dried peppers because we don't need them. Maybe we'll use them in something, I don't know. But, all right. Oops. There we go. All right, now I'm going to split these apart gently. I'm just going to kind of pull them apart. They're actually come apart fairly easily. They're not too overly root bound or intertwined. So, there we go. There's one. We'll just stick it in there and we'll load some soil in on top of it, some fresh soil. There we go. There's lots of room. Now I actually had these jigsaws. I had a couple of these in a large concrete planter outside my front door in the city. And it looked fantastic. It was a quite large planter, like I said. I think I had about 3 of them in there, and it was so beautiful with the variegated foliage and the purple that's in it and the flowers, and then of course the peppers when they started coming on it were gorgeous. And I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well it survived the early frost. Like everything else in the garden seemed to get hit with frost fairly early on, but the jigsaw that was there by the front door seemed to keep going. It seemed to be okay until we had a really good deep hard freeze, and then it was toast. But it seemed to hang on fairly steadfastly. Now I'm gonna prune. Like I said, I'm gonna cut this back a little bit. So there's lots of new growth, new shoots coming up. So I'm just gonna take it down right there. Not a lot, but just enough to allow for some new growth. Oh, you got bees in the greenhouse already. And there's jigsaw number 1. So we'll just give that a little bit of a drink. Just like that. And it'll be all happy for the summer, hopefully, in its own pot. It's not sharing a pot with another one. So it'll be really interesting to see how big these get this year. Because most peppers are actually kind of shrub-like plants, and if you can winter them over, supposedly they will get quite big and quite large, and they'll you'll get even more production out of them. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So I'm looking forward to having lots of peppers in the garden this year. I've got so many started. Some made it, some germinated really well, and others didn't. There's some that I'm disappointed with. I know I ordered seeds for the Sugar Rush Red, and none of them came up. And in fact, when I opened the package of seed, I was actually very disappointed because the seed that I got almost looked like it was bottom of the barrel, sweepings off the counter. Like it didn't look like viable seed to begin with, so I was very disappointed with that. But that said, I do have more Sugar Rush Peach coming. And we've got lots of jalapenos. The habaneros are doing surprisingly well. I was very, very surprised that they came up within a week, almost 10 days. When I planted them, they were up and they're just going great guns. I was really quite surprised by the habaneros. So anyway, this is kind of what I'm doing today. And I kind of gave you a brief tour of what's going on in the greenhouse. Like I said, I'm kind of hedging whether or not to do any more transplanting. I know there's stuff that needs to be done, but it's a matter of space and having the room for them in the house. Because right now, we don't have a proper heater for the greenhouse, and the one that we got in here just isn't cutting it for keeping things from freezing at night, especially when the temperatures themselves are it's still getting fairly cold at night. I think the forecast coming up for the weekend, I think there's an overnight low of -10, and so that's just too cold for this heater. And so yeah, just trying to figure out what to do, because there's stuff that needs to be started, like all of the cucumbers and squash and pumpkin and stuff like that need to be started. I've got a whole bunch of flowers that I want to start. Like I need to start my zinnias and my marigolds and sweet peas, and all of that all needs to get going. And there's just not enough room for everything. What a dilemma, huh? I got a bigger greenhouse and I still don't have room for everything. That's kind of sad. Good, but it's still a problem. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. This is what I'm doing today, and yeah, fingers crossed that after this weekend things will start to really warm up and start to melt, because that's what we need right now, are some warmer temperatures. So anyway, I hope you're having a great week. Have a great Thursday. Apparently, according to the Farmer's Almanac, it's National Beer Day, so have a beer with me. Cheers. Until next time, take care.